friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about this Nomad Florida Keys Beachy and Peachy palette. I already did my swatch and review video, and I showed you one eye look in my original swatch and review. Today, I want to do some palette comparisons, and I also want to show you some more looks with this palette. This one is really bright and bold and fun, and there's so many different color combinations to be had. I think that this look I'm wearing right now, this very citrusy lemon lime look, is probably my favorite that I've done with the palette so far. But I wanted to give you some more look inspiration and, of course, a couple of palette comparisons. They're my favorite thing to do. I know a lot of you love them too. So let's get to the fun part and start playing with some eyeshadow. For this first tutorial, I'm going to show you the lime green look that I'm wearing in the intro portion of the video. So of course, I'm starting with my Ulta Matte Eye Primer, and then I'm going to use this pale yellow shade called Sunrise Salute on a big fluffy brush from Singe Beauty, and I'm really just going to work that into the crease area of my eye. I'm not being super precise. This is a very quick and simple type of look, so there's not a lot of technicalities here. So I'm really just layering up that color. Then I'm going to take a combination of two more matte shades. This is Key Lime Time and Far From Normal, so the really bright neon green and yellow shades. And using a smaller fluffy brush, I'm going to just start to add some of that more green tone to the outer half of the eye, so on the lid and all the way up into the crease towards the brow as well. These mattes all blend so seamlessly together. I'm really impressed by the fact that these paler, more neon and pastel type of shades really stick to the eye and don't blend away no matter how much I layer and blend them. A lot of the time, I struggle to get a good, even application with shades like this. So I'm really impressed with the performance of these shades, and they lasted all day too. So I'm just overall really happy with the formulas in here, particularly those lighter and brighter matte shades that I have found across the board, across many different brands, are pretty tricky. So these have been great. Now I'm using my fingertip to apply a little bit of this yellow shimmer shade all over the rest of my lid, and just a little hint of that on the lower lash line as well. Highlighting this spot on the lower lash line is the new highlighting the inner corner in my world anyway. I'm not claiming to be a trendsetter or anything, but this is my new favorite little highlight spot. Then I curled my lashes, added some Maybelline Sky High mascara, and that's the finished look. I think this would look really cute with even like a contrast color liner, but overall, this is the type of look that I can see myself wearing really, really often. I love to do a super simple look with some brighter and bolder colors like this because I feel like that contrast of a really standout color used in a really simple way is just something that appeals to me. Plus, I am not very technically savvy when it comes to makeup application. So something that I can apply quickly and easily in just a couple of minutes is really my style. Now I want to show you the eye look that I was wearing in the ColourPop So Juicy Lip Oils video. Of course, starting with my favorite eye primer again. For this look, I really wanted to push myself to try an unusual color combination. The previous look was pretty monochromatic, so for this look, I wanted to try to just get out of the box, out of the comfort zone color combo wise. Now, I am not a big pastel girl, so of course, going out of my comfort zone immediately made me think, okay, I should try some of these really light pastel-y blue shades because this is not my jam. It's not what I usually gravitate towards. So I just really gently built up some of this close to perfect shade all over the transition crease area of the lid. And I also took that same brush and really just got a blown out smudgy pastel look on the lower lash line as well. I did find that this particular shade needed some more building up to get to the opacity I wanted than the yellows and greens from the palette, but I was able to achieve the look that I wanted. So overall, it took a little bit more work, but it was still possible. Now I'm using this deep golden shade. This is called Dry Tortugas. And first, I'm just using my fingertip to build this up on the outer half of the lid only. I'm not going up into that crease area. And before I do anything else, I'm just blending the edges and making sure that I keep that really confined to the lid. Then I'm using this minty green shimmer called Southernmost Point, and I'm putting that on the other half of my lid that still has blank lid space. So we get this green to gold fade look on the lids. This is not a color combination that I've used before, but once I did it, I kind of was feeling like these were giving me Jasmine from Aladdin type of vibes because she wears this turquoisey color and gold jewelry. So I was kind of channeling my inner Jasmine. Once I started actually putting these colors on the lids, I started to really feel it, even though up until really this point in the eye look, I was feeling a little skeptical. This is when I decided to just go for it, really intensify that gold shade, and also use it as almost a faux liner on the lower lash line. So I'm using a really small little detail brush and I'm dragging that gold all around the eye to about the outer half of the lower lash line so that I get a little bit of that, not cat eye because there's no wing flick or anything, but just a liner look with that gold shadow. Then I just intensified all of the shimmers, did a little bit more blending out around the edges to make sure that that minty matte shade was really popping up and showing behind all of these beautiful shimmers. This look is the perfect example of when going out of your comfort zone pays off because I definitely shy away from pastels. This isn't a color combination that I would typically go for 9 times out of 10, but I actually love the way that this turned out. It was still really easy to do application-wise, but just the visual interest of the color combination, the contrast, and really just pushing myself to see myself in pastel shades when they're probably my least favorites. And I've been experimenting with wearing more blue eyeshadow because I shied away from blue for so long. So now maybe the next frontier for me will be pastel shades. I don't know, don't quote me on that. I'm not quite ready to commit. But I do love the way that this particular eye look turned out. I think that it was fun and flattering, a little bit unexpected, but because there's not liner and lashes, it still feels really comfortable and it still feels like my style. And just a little reminder that I did show you this eye look, this blue and coral high contrast look is the one that I did in my original swatch and review video. So if you want to see this third eye look, how I did this, what colors I used, then make sure you check the description box because I will have linked that swatch and review that contains this tutorial for you. Now, let's move on to just a few palette comparisons. I don't have a ton of super bright palettes in my collection, but I knew that I wanted to compare this Florida Keys palette to the Cloud Forest palette. This is the Costa Rica one. This is still available on their website. There are certainly some similarities between these color stories. There are a lot of those bright tropical feeling shades. In general, I think the Florida Keys palette has a greater selection of light shades, and I think the Cloud Forest palette has a couple more neutral feeling shades. In general, I gravitate more towards Cloud Forest, probably just because that one has more green shades and I love green eyeshadow. The other Nomad palette comparison that I wanted to do is this Paradise Islands palette. This one is no longer available, and I think this one also has more selection of greens. These two are a lot more similar, in my opinion, than the Cloud Forest palette. A lot more one-to-one shade similarities. Just the whole vibe of the themes is really similar, so it makes sense that the color stories would feel very similar. I don't think these are exact one-to-one dupes, but much closer. The next palette that I thought of, maybe it's just because this is a more recent release, is the ColourPop and Pokemon palette. These also have those really bright rainbowy type of tones. The Pokemon palette does have some more neutral shade selection. In general, I think you could get some very similar eye looks out of these two palettes, but when you look up close, a lot of the finishes are quite different, even if the color story is echoing one another. But I think that this fade into hue palette definitely does a better job comparison wise. It's a lot more similar when it comes down to the individual shades and finishes. However, having used both of these palettes multiple times, I will say I think that the performance, particularly of these lighter and brighter shades, is a little bit better with the Florida Keys palette. But if you already have Fade into Hue, you may find these color-wise to be a little bit too similar. That's kind of up to you. I mean, Fade into Hue has some pressed glitters, which I'm not into as well, so maybe that's where some of my bias is showing. For my very last comparison swatches here, I combined both of the Halloween palettes that Angie did in collaboration with Odin's Eye. And I do think in general, the Halloween palettes are a little bit richer and deeper, whereas the Florida Keys palette is a lot softer, more of those beachy tropical colors. The Halloween palettes are quite a bit more intense, but you could definitely make a case for these being able to give us similar color stories. But if you look at the Halloween palettes in their entirety, they're a lot different. I just knew that I could find some of these beautiful bright shades in there. Make sure you go check out my original video with this palette if you want some more information, some close-ups, I did finger and brush swatches in that one, and I also rearranged the colors into the most pleasing to my eyeballs swatches as well. So for lots more info about this, I will link that swatch and review video down below. I would love to hear what you think about these looks. Are you excited for this palette? Are you picking it up? If you do decide to order this Florida Keys palette or anything else from the Nomad site, I do have an affiliate code. It's just my first name, Amanda, and that will save you 10% on your purchase. I hope that you found this video informative, helpful, or at least just fun to watch and hang out with me while I did some eyeshadow. I definitely want to hear which look was your favorite. What do you hope to see next from Nomad? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Hmm. Okay, let's try that again. Why did I say it like that? What is that? What is that? What are we doing? Stop it. Stop it. Get some help. You also speak in memes. I feel like I'm super extra weird today. That's saying something. The rest of my makeup is from trying your underrated favorites, and you guys gave me some pretty darn good suggestions because I love the way the rest of my makeup looks. I mean, I love my eyeshadow too. I just think this whole thing is working for me today. Prepare for me to be insufferable because I love the way my makeup looks. Really though. Hey, finger guns. That was great. Nailed it. Ow. Look how cute. Oh, I'm wearing my little green earrings, little chartreuse earrings. Got my bright t-shirt on. I'm a matching queen today. Right. I got some editing to do. I have so many fun things to film. I wish that I had 100 more hours a week so that I could make more videos because there's so much cool stuff I want to talk about, cool ideas I have. I don't have nearly enough hours in the day to do all of the things that pop into my brain. Maybe that's a good thing sometimes. Mhm. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I just appreciate any time we get to hang out here together. I think that's cool. Good for us. We're killing it. And personally, I think you're adorable. and smart and sweet and filled with good ideas and important things to say. And I think you should treat yourself that way. Okay? Is it a deal? All right, you better do it because I love your face. And don't forget to wear your sunscreen. Bye.